What's going on? Welcome to Buckeye BS. Today will be hosted by your boy, Cleveland Mike, and your guy, Q, man. Make sure, before we get started, make sure you hit the like button. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Q, man, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, man. Another day. Feeling a little old, but, it's another day in paradise. Not too bad.
Not old, bro. Come on, man. I ain't trying to hear that. See, man. So my wife and I, we went and finally got the community athletic center. We went in there and got the family membership, right? And they got a little daycare in there for the kids. And so I went, got a little workout in, did some cardio, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go play some basketball. Bruh. Let's just say the guys was like, hey, you got another one in you? I said, hell nah, bro. I cannot do it. Yeah, I ain't hooped in a minute. So I'm gonna have to get back out there, get back in shape. But everybody definitely make sure y'all getting back in shape this off season.
Yeah, it's a problem when you're on the other side of that family membership.
For real, bro.
When you the one paying for it, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny. But nah, man, here talk some Buckeye ball, man. A lot going on in college football these days, and the streets been like, what y'all, where y'all been at?
Yeah, man. Hey, we just been out here living life, trying to get things together going into this 2024 season. But sounds like the Buckeyes have been doing a lot, getting ready for this season, but not just them, man. Before we even get into talking about the Buckeyes, we got to talk about the SEC in the Big Ten versus the NCAA. They're putting together a football advisory committee. Q, what do you think about this, bro?
Interesting, man. I don't know what kind of power they're gonna have, but I think this is the ultimate replacement of the NCAA. I mean, obviously, these are the two big conferences. They're pretty much pulling in all the teams. I think there's only probably a few other big pieces out there that really haven't joined these two conferences. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with this, because everybody's talking about the NCAA is cooked, but they've been in power for so long that it's like, what is it actually like when they're trying to replace the NCAA, and how does that work? So I'm interested to see, but obviously this looks good. I mean, these two teams are going to determine pretty much everything, kind of give their opinion, and they know football better than the NCAA does. I mean, you've heard about it, talked about a lot, that like all the rules that come out and things like that are not good for football. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're doing. There's no NIL. They're driving out coaches. So I'm interested to see what comes of this and how it goes, because there's a lot of rules that just don't make any sense. There's a lot of stuff that just like is not good for college football in here. So that's my take on it.
I think that this came about when you see a Nick Saban, just talking about, hey, I'm too, old for this new college football and the way it's going. He's also been outspoken about, in the direction in which college football is going. And so when you're talking about a sport like college football, is one of the top, is the top college sport, right? And then I say also probably, third or fourth behind professional sports. We know the NFL is king, is number one, but then I think you got the NBA and then probably college football right behind that. So with that, do you really want to lose your best coaches? Josh Pate was coming out talking about there's young head coaches who are going to leave. Boom. Jeff Hafley hits the door and he's talking about, I had breakfast in Florida, flew to the Midwest and had lunch, and then went somewhere else and had dinner and only saw 3 kids. Like, like it's not sustainable. And I think that that's what the SEC and the Big Ten is doing. Plus, I thought it was weird the NCAA coming out about Tennessee with NIL, and it's like NIL is like real, bro. Like I don't understand why y'all are trying to regulate NIL. Like if you're getting paid off of NIL, who's the NCAA to say that that person's likeness isn't worth that much? How can you tell someone how much they are worth? And I had this conversation in the barbershop or whatever because all the other barbers was charging like 40 for a haircut or 50. This one barber is busting heads. He's charging $100 a cut. And I mean, he made it clear, like he feel he has the best skills. Who's to tell him that his haircut not worth $100?
Says Ron the turkey. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, you kind of have your market value, and it's just like certain things like NIL, the portal, just all have been all over the place in like even recruiting periods, and there's just like no end to it. Like that college coach has to be a 24/7 job. There's no summer, there's no winter. Guys are signing people, they're right back on the trail, and it's just it's a burnout, man. And so they definitely got to get some regulation behind this. They definitely got to get some periods behind this. I don't think the ability to be able to transfer just any time is good. The fact that you have to recruit your guys a year into the program, it's like maybe put in a 2-year window so guys are really picking where they want to go and, not just here, okay, I got paid, but I don't like it, let me go somewhere else.
Right.
I always thought NIL, I know you may not regulate people's money, but maybe bracket it and then just have guys outside of the program try to make money off of their likeness and not just like to play for this team, I'm getting paid $1 million, more like, we all get paid $50K, and then because I go play well, now let me start to build out on that money. Just something like that, I feel like would help a lot.
This is something that I thought about because Gene Smith was saying that, college football needs to break away from the NCAA and just go ahead and give it to the college football playoff committee, right? And so also, they've been talking about paying these kids part of the revenue share. Well, part of that, if I don't have to give a portion of my my profits to the NCAA, now can't that portion start going to the athletes now?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought revenue share would be a good idea. Also, too, it helps the Big Ten out as far as a conference because they make the most. So some people like like the Pac-2 or the ACC, I mean, that revenue share might drive talent out of the conference, which could be fair or unfair. But I thought that was a better idea than just this kind of open market of athletes, especially too because it like the way Ohio State does NIL, which is paying their best players for performing, is kind of the way it should be. I mean, guys, we've said it for a long time. Guys should not be making decisions strictly off of I'm about to make a load of money here because you're putting careers in jeopardy. And obviously, we've seen that on the bad side of we've lost players just because we didn't have NIL who really wanted to come to Ohio State and play. So it shouldn't really be that way. But hopefully now with a committee, now with guys that know what they're doing, hopefully they can get older coaches, SEC coaches especially, would know the platform like a Nick Saban experienced guy to come in and kind of write it and regulate it and be like, okay, this is fair and this is where we need to go. So hopefully this brings good things on that side.
Yeah. And these two conferences, I think, are the only two conferences ready for revenue share, especially when you're talking about the TV deals that the Pac-12 has and the ACC, man.
Hey, paying Brad, NIL deal, you get a guest spot on Arrow.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, if I go to the SEC or Big Ten, I'm already know I'm guaranteed to get this much. ACC, y'all ain't really like that right now. But, man, National Signing Day is coming up this Wednesday. I think Ohio State has one guy who will be signing his LOI. That'll be Dominique Kurt right out of the state of Ohio, a late get who decommitted from Washington after DeBoer left, and now he gets to stay home. How do you feel about this? Just, it's crazy because you get everybody, like the early signing day wasn't meant for your whole class to be filled. You know what I'm saying? It was just like those guys. It was really for like those guys who could early enroll. Go ahead. Here's what you can commit right here. But now, everybody, most of the top programs, you're only getting like 1, maybe 2 commits on this day.
Yeah, The early signing day is interesting to me because it's like if you think of everything that has gone on since the signing day has passed, the coaching
Mm-hmm.
changes, all of that, it's like, is this a good thing? We got signed early and are not even at their school a month later or have the ability to transfer because of a coaching change. It makes it a little rough, but you do want to
What's up,
enroll
Doug?
early.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that is kind of the one thing. But first of all, shout out to Kirks, guy from Ohio, top 250 player, want to be a Buckeye. Obviously, he gets in the class. But overall, man, it's just like this used to be the signing day, and now it's not a lot of umph to it. Of like your guys are pretty much signed all in the early signing day. So I don't know, man. This is one thing the NCAA I feel like should look at as well. It's just like this signing day because it's like how many guys are going and now transfer just because of coaching changes. I don't know how
Yeah.
you feel about that, but I want to ask you in the chat because that's the first thing I thought about.
I mean, that's how we got Julian saying, like, he's a part of the 2024 class. And now, his coach leaves, and now Bama has to deal with that. Their guys get a 30-day window. And I think that they do need to fix that because it's not sustainable, man. And I think, like we were talking earlier, it's going to push most coaches out. But I want to talk to you about something, man, because I swear when we had two guys who signed their LOIs early, right? You had a 5-star and Jeremiah Smith at wide receiver and another 5-star and Mylan Graham. But all of a sudden, right? Mylan Graham's no longer a 5-star. He's a 4-star. And Gallon Blair moves up to a 5-star. Explain this to me, man, because it don't make no sense, especially after, like, you move him to a 5-star after the performance that we saw at the All-American game where this guy was just dropping passes like crazy.
Every time I think of Mylan Graham, me and Chris was on Twitter responding to a comment. Somebody said Mylan Graham is Garrett Wilson with better footwork. Oh man, I'm never gonna forget that. But
Crazy.
yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I feel like we all know Gallon Bear's overrated because if he was playing in Cleveland right now, clearly he wouldn't even be fast at all.
No, not at all.
I know in your opinion, he definitely ain't getting a 5th star. He may not get a 4th because he's really not that fast.
High third star. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know, man. The rankings are always very interesting, and I feel like they're just to spin the bucket. If you have one extraordinary trait, your chances of being a 5-star is probably high. And obviously we see it when guys come in and they start playing. We're like, wait, how is this guy a 5-star? We see a guy come in play. We're like, how is he not a 5-star?
Right.
He's ready to go. So most remember too, Cardinal Tate was on the line of being a 5-star. I don't even know if he finished as one, but he was very close. And then you see him play, you're like, oh no, that dude's ready to go. So well, first of all, shout out to Gallon Bear for his commitment. He's going to Oregon, which is on brand. If you run into 4.0, they have a track program over there that definitely fits you. So congratulations to him and the Big Ten getting a little more talent. I don't know if he should be a 5-star. I think he's more of a track guy than a football player. But I guess time will tell. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. So we will see.
Yeah, bro. I mean, he committed to Oregon last night, but I mean, and here's my thing on the 5-star, like, he's not going to be in school until 2026 or 2027 because he got to go do this mission, right? So it's like, you got a 5-star, but they're really not in the 2024 class.
I mean, I guess you can't re-register him in 2026.
I mean, he's gonna, dude. My guy's gonna be what? That's like 2, 3, maybe 3 years out. He's going to be 21 as a freshman. Hey, I feel it, man.
Running a 3.9 at that point. He going the way he goes.
Not too much, bro. Yeah, I wonder how much football work he's going to get while he's riding that bike doing his mission work. But
the quads, right, bro? You got to come back blazing,
bro. All right, man. Let's get into it, man. We got a lot to talk about Ohio State, man. And as you guys see, Ohio State national title favorites. Everybody is sitting here saying what Ohio State has coming back. All of these guys, the transfers that they got coming in. Is Ohio State the favorite to win a national championship?
Well, Chad, first of all, let me know. I see y'all in there. Like my guy Doug said, go ahead, hit that like button, and keep it coming. So, is Ohio State title favorites? I would say I would say I probably put them second right now. I probably have them second, behind UGA. Obviously, we have a question at quarterback. We still need a tackle, so hopefully that's out there. I mean, the defense should be pretty much lights out. If we can get a little bit of pass rush, you're talking maybe generational with the secondary that we have coming back. So in some average linebacker play, we might be all right. So yeah, man, I feel like we should be second right now. I wouldn't put us as absolute favorites, but a lot of people are talking. It's like this team doesn't win a title because they have everything. And too, you think back a couple years ago, we went to play Georgia with that Ohio State team, and it's like, well, if they're gonna perform like that, then yeah, why not? Or you put the talent up, and it's like, no, we shouldn't be able to compete with Georgia or beat them, and we really had them on the ropes. So anything can happen when you get on the field, but I feel like with the talent is with this team, they should have a chance to win a title. Not to say they're your favorites, but in a national title game, they should be there. We're line up across from Georgia or another like talent team. There should be no reason this team doesn't have a chance to win that game. So I would say I'd probably put us at second right now, but I wouldn't be mad at somebody if they're saying like, yeah, we're title favorites.
Yeah, man. So it was always said, especially by us Ohio State fans, man, we got the offense. We got the offense. Just wait till we get a defense, man. Just wait till we get a defense. And we went in the natty. We were ready to do, we was telling all them lines last year because we knew the defense was going to be better. And then we saw it being better. But we had issues on the offense, which I don't think anybody really accounted for. Never thought that under Ryan Day we would have issues on the offensive side of the ball. So, a lot of people pushing the natty, and I want the natty, but I think priority number one, and like the players who have transferred in, and like the players keep saying, priority number one is beating that team up north, beating Michigan, bro. And that's the first thing that we got to do, beat them, and then go win the Big Ten championship. Everybody wants to say, oh, Ohio State should win this and da-da-da. Still, even when you look at overall what we got in the talent from the portal and everything, if you combine transfers and recruits, Ohio State still doesn't have the number one class, right? And here's the thing. Nick Saban basically averaged the number one class, but he didn't win the national championship every time, right? So it's just to sit here and say there's a lot of other things that go into it when you just have players. And like one thing that I'm very big on is talking about the coaches. I think that it is on these coaches to see if we're going to be national title favorites. And then it's like, man, just when you're starting to think that there's momentum and building on that offense, man, Ohio State might be finding out some bad news. There's a rumor going out that could possibly be true, man. And what you think about that, Q? Because I think that is what's going to hurt Ohio State if we cannot replace one of these coaches that we lose, that we just got.
Yeah, but before we jump into that, we got a super chat in here. So, oh my God, Mike Green, what up, Mike? He said, "What's up, my guys?" I'll just keep it PG. I'll be in Columbus Friday to check out Chris and Zach. Mike, y'all have a connection to Florida now. I'm in Palm Coast, so come on down, broski. Hey, man. I'm never mad at being in good weather. This is why I moved in the first place. So we might have to do that. But everybody in the chat, if you don't know, this man Mike is getting out the game. So throw him a congrats. This guy's wedding coming up soon. So everybody shout out to him. And obviously appreciate the 5, my guy.
Yeah, he doing it big for his wedding, man. Shout out to Mike Green, man. But yeah, my wife loves visiting down in Florida, man. So yeah, when we come back down that way, man, I have to hit you up.
Yeah, most definitely. I gotta get one of these weeks. I want to get up when Chris and Zach do a live show and definitely go crash that at Hammer. So we might wait till it warm up a little bit, but we gonna have to get up there. But yeah, appreciate the super chat, Mike. Definitely.
We got another one too.
Go ahead, throw it up there.
So you got Mike hit us with another one. If Will can throw the deep ball, it's a wrap.
Most definitely, man. Can we get a quarterback with a pulse? We might be all right, man. We might be all right. It's interesting, man. I still and I don't know where people at on this. I'm still expecting a quarterback battle. I know a lot of people are giving it to Will Howard. I
Mhm.
looked. We talked about it on the Fans Edge. So if you didn't check that out, go check that out back on Wednesday. But I'm like, these are two basically like skill set quarterbacks. Like I would give Will probably the edge a little bit as an athlete, but Devin came in known as a passer. I mean, he came in,
Mhm.
he threw for like 4K in high school.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, does he continue to develop as a passer? We haven't seen it yet because we really didn't see him pass all last season. I mean, Ryan Day again doing his best Dean Smith impression, not letting guys really go spin. So so definitely that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hearing what's coming out of camp, seeing if guys have developed. I think Ryan Day and who's ever coaching quarterbacks with him really need to get in the lab and get one of these guys right. And I'm with you. If they can spin it, man, it's yeah. There's no reason we shouldn't be there with a chance to win a title.
Yeah, man. And honestly, bro, like this could be an Ole Miss type situation, or it's kind of similar to it. I mean, I guess the difference was Jackson Dart had started, played a lot of games and stuff like that. But I mean, like we've been talking, we wanted someone to come in, light a spark, challenge this room, and may the best man win. One thing, I don't think that the deep ball is one of Will Howard's strengths. So I think to help with that, you're going to probably have to get him on play action or something like that. I think he's good short to intermediate. Um, but I think we do have some other quarterbacks who are good at the deep ball as well. So, I mean, it's really coming down to the quarterback. It's coming down to the coaches and what they pick with the quarterback as well. A lot of people have tabbed Devin as this dual threat quarterback. And it's just like, I don't know where that's coming from. Like, Devin's a team guy. You hear it even from Will Howard. He's helping Will Howard learn the playbook, learn how Ohio State is. Like they've been really accepting of him. But one thing that Will Howard also said, Q, that was interesting was just the simple fact of that he does not have to fight with his wide receivers to go throw to them. He like, man, by the time I pull up to the facility, they already there.
Nah, guys in the lab, man. It feels good. I think all across this roster, I mean, guys really need to develop, level up their game, and if they stay on task and where they should be, I think we're in for a good season. I'm just hoping not another season of boring offense, not another season of like. I gotta watch this and then go talk
Right.
about it. Like I want to be excited. Like there's really and I do this a lot with like good games or exciting games. There's not a lot of Ohio State games that I really wanted to rewatch. Like it really wasn't this past season, or it wasn't going to stress me out. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some guys spin and kind of get that excitement factor in the next season and be able to be like, dang, I just watched a game, but it got me so juiced up. I want to go see it again. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to. But let me shout out, man. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. Mello's back in the chat. Charles Green. What up? I see Seaball in there. Got Doug, Travis, and a
Yeah.
lot of
The
guys.
chat
We ain't
jumping.
seen
I
a
see the
little.
numbers.
Yeah, we ain't seen it a little minute. Todd Doyle just popped in there. So yeah, man. Shout out to y'all for coming hanging out with us. But yeah, let's keep it moving.
Yeah, make sure y'all smash that like button, man. Hit that like button. Help us out. Help the algorithm out. Get us up there, man. Because we're gonna be coming with content with y'all, and we putting together some series as well. So I've been
Yeah.
writing out a lot.
Yeah, let me ask you in the chat real quick. Do you feel like there's any, like, obviously offensive line isn't great, but anything that would right now as the roster says today, we didn't add anybody else that would really hinder us from winning a title? Like anything that you'd be like, well, that has to be fixed, or we're not winning at all. Because I don't
Listen,
feel like there's really a spot on here where I'd be like, worst case scenario, it's going to cost us.
yeah. I mean, like you said, other than O line, I guess the only thing that you could say that could cost us is something that Q that we talked about, man. Last offseason, we said that what's the key to this 2023 season? And I said rotation, because it's going to be key later down the road in those big games and things like that, where I think you're going to probably, those guys who are the starters, you're going to probably have to sub them out in those big games and use someone with more athleticism. And then I also said you didn't want to turn around in 2024 and have your linebackers out there with no meaningful experience. And that's one thing that we have. Now, I do believe that these linebackers are more twitched up, right? I believe that they're more athletic than what we had out there, and that will help. But also, they don't have the experience. So you see fans already, like we talked about it, the young guys are going to make mistakes. The thing is you want them to make those mistakes early so that they can be coached up and they don't make those mistakes later in the season in the big time games. But those guys didn't get that. So now it could be a CJ Hicks. It could be a Gabe Powers. It could be a Glover out there. It could be Arvell Reese. Regardless, they don't have the experience. They're going to make mistakes. And how's the fan base going to take that?
I mean, it's so interesting that I was like Travis said, I actually watch football. Yeah, I watch a game or two per season, but it's so interesting with the dynamic of Caleb Downs walking into this team. And like, I just try to reflect and really think about it. Like, if Caleb Downs had committed here, would he be remotely close to where he is now? I mean, obviously, playing in the SEC is a different animal week to week than it is in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. You just talk about the experience, the games. Like, Caleb Downs did not start out well last season. He did not start well at all. I mean, he was getting ran over. He was making mistakes, things like that. But they were also playing Chattanooga. Like, they weren't playing anybody who was going to have a chance of beating them. And you talk about later in the season when they're going to play Georgia, going to play Michigan, the big time game.
They played him against Texas, bro. He made some big time mistakes in that Texas game.
Yeah, well, that too. And then like that cost them the L, not Caleb Downs necessarily, but they lost the game. But it paid off. I mean, they were there with a chance to go to a natty, and Caleb Downs played well down the stretch and became one of the strengths of the team. And you think, like, if he was on Ohio State, would he get there? So I think that's a question the coaches need to ask themselves and kind of just be aware to, of like, we got to get these guys in the game a little bit. I think I talked about it in the space of, like, you saw Georgia and the way they played Florida State in the bowl game. And yeah, they were up by 50, but they were still playing ball. They had guys going out there, getting reps, flying around, making tag, like playing real football. And I feel like in the second half, when we have a good first half, we ain't getting no ball in the second half. Like, you're like, here we go. Like, Ryan Day is going to completely put his foot on the brake and just chill out. So I think we need to kind of calm down with that and get guys real reps, because the fact that we haven't seen guys like a Kojo Antwi, Keon Grays going into year 3, CJ Hicks, Gabe, I don't think we've seen Gabe Powers, but like maybe 4 or 5 snaps in total yet. And going into his junior year, it's like all over the place. I mean, even some linemen, you really haven't got to see too much of. Larry Johnson does a better job, but there's guys been on this roster for a while that are talented that we haven't seen. So right. That's something that has to get fixed, and I think has to be in the mindset of the coaches.
Yeah, man, and shout out Mike Green, because he made a really good point. Like, he said, I'm with Mike. Lathan got hurt 4th quarter, 5 minutes, blowout. We see this all the time. I mean, think about it. Tommy in 2022, bro, Tommy Two Thumbs. He out there in the 4th quarter. We had blowouts. Like, I counted it out. We had 7 blowouts in 2022. 7. And we still had the starters out there, especially on the defensive side. It makes no sense. And my whole thing is like even Proctor, right? We saw what Proctor did this year and everything. But he made one mistake in the Notre Dame game, and we never saw him again.
Yeah. No, that was
like, come on, but look what he did. Like, it's just so many things. Like, if think about it. If Proctor was out there instead of Ronnie Hickman, and you allow him to make those mistakes early in the season, right, Proctor, but you coach him up and get him better, I just think like Josh Proctor would have looked a lot better out there than Hickman, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't even say coach him up. It was just one mistake. Like it wasn't like he went out there and got cooked. Like he just missed the tackle, and did it look good? No, but I'm like, well, damn. Like that happens to everybody. If you were pulling players out of one mistake, the whole team would be on the bench and we'd be at the third string. So
it's just I can't explain it because we saw Cam Martin anytime he stepped on the field, he made mistakes, but they kept giving him a chance. But we can't get nobody else the chance. Come on, bro.
He's a good kid from a good family, man.
He's the reason why we didn't have a blowout win, bro. Like in one game, bro. Here's Ohio State's first blowout in forever. Cam Martinez gets cooked.
Yeah. Happens to the best of them, man. But yeah, man, that's just a question I think we need to ask. Man, it's like if Caleb Downs comes here, he's ready to play. He's one of the best in the country. It's like we need to start giving guys time and give them the pathway to do that. I mean, it just hasn't been around, and we talked about it in J Book Space the other day. But like that now has to be a part of Ohio State lore because I feel like it's holding us back as a roster. And now we come in instead of having. Look at the wide receiver room. It's really only a Mecca that's really had game time. And, we could have got guys, B.I., Kojo, Keon, Jaden Ballard, plenty of reps to kind of come in and be like, okay, we kind of know what we got here. They just need to take an extra step. It's like, now I have no idea what we have in the wide receiver room besides, a Mecca, then hoping Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis are ready for full-time play.
Yeah, bro. So, hey, Mike Green said it, man. Bruh, last year I had to pray my anger away. Yes. as many points that we just saw on the field and yards that we just saw left on the field, yeah, it was. Then if you watch the all 22, oh Lord, it just pisses you off if you rewatch the all 22.
Bro, I always remember back when you do the post game to the Notre Dame game, and I'm just sitting there like. like, oh, it's gonna be a long season, man. It's gonna be a long season. Oh man, let's get back to fun Ohio State football, man. That's
for sure. Definitely, let's get back, man. So I do want to put y'all out. I think everybody should be watching their Twitters today. Shout out OG Walk, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. Watch your Twitter. Shout out OG Walk.
Yeah, man. But I think you alluded to it earlier, the Bill O'Brien rumors. So let's I guess we'll touch on that real quick. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with good old B.O.B., man?
Man, I think that this is weird, bro, because I hope I'm not seeing this correlation happen, bro. I mean, if Bill O'Brien's leaving, I think it's for personal reasons. I don't understand why you would go to Boston College, and I know he got family out there, so has to be that. We saw the reason, like Jeff Hafley. Like, I just feel like a school like Boston College isn't going to be able to keep and retain its players. Like one of the things in football, like you would get a Northwestern or you would get a Wisconsin that would have these senior-laden teams, right? And they'd be able to compete. And I just don't think that you'll be able to build that at BC with the current way college football is with the transfer portal and things like this. So if he's doing this, it got to be for family reasons and things like that. But you see, you heard the rumors earlier about Cliff Kingsbury, right? Then he turns down this offensive coordinator job, and people are saying, hey, it could be Cliff Kingsbury coming to Ohio State. And I just want to put this on record. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I'm not sure, bro, because one thing that I liked about what Bill O'Brien brought, and, y'all were the first ones. Y'all know I was not too high on the Bill O'Brien hire at first. But the fact I felt he was going to be a disruptor, he was going to come in, push Ryan Day to be better than what he was, push the other offensive coaches to be better than they were. Like, we talked about the things that Brian Hartline needs to work on. Obviously, like working with the wide receivers on their separation, working with the wide receivers on their blocking. I think that that's something that Bill O'Brien comes in and pushes Brian Hartline to be better at. Cliff Kingsbury gonna be like, oh man, you putting out all these wide receivers, bro. You good,
Air it
you
out.
good. Yeah, and then it's just the good old boys club, bro. And I'm not looking for that, bro. Like Bill O'Brien, old school, coming in, I just felt like it would have helped build that toughness, and then also built that toughness within that quarterback room, because we talked about how the quarterback room just looked soft last year, right? So that's what I was looking for Bill O'Brien, and I just don't feel like we would get that with Cliff Kingsbury, man. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of hurting that we would be losing our OC this fast, bro. This, I think, was the fastest coaching turnaround in Ohio State history, huh?
Happens when you hire good coaches. Yeah, but Mello touched on it, but yeah, the word on the streets or on Twitter was that his son has a condition where the best doctor in the country is in Boston, so that kind of leaves him close to that, and he needs to be close to the hospital. So that's kind of why where the smoke is coming from. So on that end, it does make sense. I mean, yeah, I don't know anybody who wants the Boston College job if they had to pick of the litter. But yeah, I mean, I think the Bill O'Brien hire was something that the fan base itself had to grow into. Everybody, like, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, well, if it don't work, right, they getting fired anyway. So all right, like let's see what's good. But just thinking back to those Alabama offenses, like, well, we do that, we win in the Natty, so it's not a problem at all. So interesting. I'm interested to see where we go from here. I think if I had to guess, if Bill O'Brien does dip out, I think Ryan Day would reach back into the NFL and just pull another NFL coordinator. I don't think it'll be a Cliff Kingsbury or somebody who he feels like his offense is already a lot better than anyway, and it's a different style. So, yeah, that's what I think we'll do. But I mean, I'll stay tuned to the news and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, man, it's just kind of like we finally rallied around this Bill O'Brien hire. He might be out the door.
You don't think that we'd go talk to the Toledo coach? Because, there was some rumors about that, and, what he did with DeQuan Finn, now DeQuan Finn's in Baylor. And that's just what I'm saying. You go to these smaller schools, you build a guy up. I mean, think about what Toledo could possibly be if DeQuan Finn comes back. But boom, he's gone. I mean, do you think that the head coach at Toledo is sitting there like, golly, like, I done developed, I done did this. Screw it. Like, why not go to Ohio State? I get all the resources, and then I know my players are most likely staying once I develop them.
Let's get to the super chat, and then I'll respond to that.
All right. Mike Green, thanks for the 5, man. What's so crazy, Mike? You didn't need to watch the all 22. It was bad within the 10 yards. Players literally gave up before the route fully started. And we talked about this in Spaces, man, and it's just think about this as a wide receiver. In the field room, you've been watching yourself get open, and you're open, and you've worked hard to work on getting open, but you see that your quarterback is just going to hit that check down, or he's just going to throw it in the dirt and be intentional grounding, or he's not going to extend the drive and, extend the play for you to be able. So, like, I mean, the body language from the players, you saw it, bro. Like, you just saw it all year long. You just saw the body language.
He didn't even need to see past 10 yards.
Yeah. Soon as the cameras would zoom in, like they show the throw and they zoom in on the skill player. Like, I can name him. Chip Trainum. His body language was terrible. Julian Fleming doing jumping jacks in the end zone. His body language was terrible. Marv's body language in that Team Up North game was atrocious.
Yeah. Nah, man, it was not good. That's actually too funny. I don't know, man. Hopefully, that's all. It's all in the past, man. That's old Ohio State.
We get behind us, Satan.
We on a new train now. But no, ain't nothing wrong with what you said. That's definitely true. But yeah, back to the OC conversation. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like Ryan Day's a little right with how the NFL coordinators are so good at scheming guys open, and they're such a higher level than college guys because they don't have to recruit. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to do this roster management. It's all the GM's job, and all they got to do is go out, coordinate the offense once the talent's acquired and scheme guys open. And I think a little bit of that definitely does help. Now, I want a guy with a little bit of college flair that can realize, like, oh, well, this guy runs a 4.2, or we got Gatlin Bear over here who no one's keeping up with him in the 100-meter. Like, let's scheme a way to get him in space. So I think Bill O'Brien was kind of a little bit of that. We saw what he did with Alabama when he had really good players. JMO, I forgot his name, running back from Detroit. I can't think of his name. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Gibbs. There we go.
Yeah.
Gibbs, like he would just scheme those guys open, get them in space, and let them really work. And that was what I was kind of most excited about with this offense. But I think if he's out the door, we need another guy who can do that. Obviously, coordinate the offense, run Ryan Day's offense to a T, but also just this is college. Like, you don't have to be a pro to be effective in college. We see it all the time. You don't have to do everything right. If you have an extraordinary trait or you have some magic speed that just is not common around college football, just find a way to get that guy in space and let him do what he does. So
yeah,
that's what I'm looking for.
I think Chris talked about it, didn't he? Like he broke down the numbers, like Bill O'Brien giving the ball to his not wide receivers, the running backs in the passing game. Like I'm talking about, it was like in the 40s and 30s.
Yeah, they had more catches than everybody on the team, not named Kate Stover and Marvin and Mecca, pretty much.
Yeah,
in the career.
And I just think that, I mean, and that's what we always talked about is what is Travion's skill set? Speed and space, bruh. Get him the ball in space and let him work. And so that's something that, I was definitely looking forward to. Prayers to the O'Brien family, man. We can hope that this all works out.
Yeah, no, I understand. We'll keep our ears to the ground, man. We'll get in. We'll get in somebody. I'm sure Ryan Day knows. Like, if I don't get this right, I might be following Bill O'Brien coordinating Boston College offense. So I have to make sure I get this hire done well.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's too funny. But yeah, man. What was I thinking? I was gonna bring up something. Now I can't remember what it is. Go ahead, Mike. I'll remember in a second.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you, because I know a lot of people are sitting here saying, the rivalry is gonna lose its luster because we could possibly play each other 2 times or whatever. But I mean, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. I don't think that this will be the year we play each other 2 times. I'm just being honest. That you could put me on the record, but I don't think that it's gonna lose its luster, bro. Like one thing that I know is you could potentially end up, if you're a 3-loss team, you can count yourself out of the playoffs. So if you get the 3rd loss in that game. Hey, that game means a lot, right? Also, you're talking about who wants that bye week. Who wants to get that bye week, right? That's also another talking point. And then getting to the Big Ten championship. I don't think it's going to lose any luster at all, bro. And I just think that the team up north is going to find it harder. Like, hey, when you actually play someone in non-conference, you got a chance to lose that game, bro. And they got Texas. I think that they'll end up losing to Texas. They also got Oregon, that I think Oregon's going to possibly beat them, and then us. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you think that this is going to lose any luster, if you got 2 losses coming to Ohio State, you need that dub. You need that dub if you want to go to the CFP. So,
yeah, I think we might have talked about this before, but I think it's gonna be interesting because obviously the playoff comes in now. It's the 12 teams in, so you would think on the regular, both of us is probably between us, Oregon, and Michigan, typically, or maybe Penn State in there. Pretty much all of us have a pretty good chance of getting in, or at least a couple of us. I just think back to that game, last November, and I'm like, it just felt like both teams walk into the game undefeated. Obviously, it was a massively hyped game. And if you've had a great season, if you lose that game, virtually the season is over. And that's something that kind of goes away now because in the same circumstances, both of us are probably definitely in the playoffs. So I don't know if it'll quite have that elevated level of meaning as far as the season. I mean, obviously we're all pissed because lost on the field 3 games in a row, whether it counts or doesn't count. So everybody's upset. So ain't none of us gonna be looking at that game like, this lost some meaning. Like we're mad as hell. We're out for blood. We want that win in the worst way. We want a blowout at this point, win by 100. So I think the rivalry will stay intact. I just don't know if nationally it will have that meaning of like, well, one of us is going home and like pretty much all of December you're pissed because your team basically after we saw Michigan won a championship and we came to close to really knocking them off in a game that we gave away pretty much on some bad plays. So I don't know if it'll have that level of meaning.
We didn't
But
give it
as
away.
far as a rivalry, it's always a rivalry. I mean, when a team is 6-6, the other one's 11-1, it still means a lot. So I don't think that'll ever go away. But I don't know if the national attention will be as much invested as they were like this past season.
Shit. The first game that's getting bidded on that Fox won't is that Ohio State team up north game, bro. Like, regardless, bro, it's gonna do numbers regardless, bro. It was doing numbers even the first time like they beat us, bro. Like even before then, it was doing numbers, bro. They always wanted that game. That's why ESPN hadn't had it. When was the last time ESPN had that game?
Yeah, it'd be Urban Meyer time. I remember when Urban Meyer was here, they had it a lot. But I think literally maybe Urban Meyer's last year was the first. Maybe like 2018 was the first year it was on Fox. Maybe I think
it was
because it was on ESPN back when Urban Meyer was here.
I remember it being on ESPN a few times when Urban was there. But it just seemed like Fox was coming for it, man. They wanted it, so.
Give it the Fox anyway. You love Fox a lot more than ESPN and the announcers. It's a lot better production.
All right. So I was in the Oregon space queue last night, man, and I was talking to them
because they got spaces over there.
Yeah, they got spaces, man. They got spaces, man. I was behind enemy lines. So there is a chance for there to be 3 teams could either end up 11-1 in regular season, or there could be one team undefeated going to the Big Ten championship, and then the other 2 teams could be 11-1. They could finish the season 11-1, not played each other. What's the Big Ten's tiebreaker on that? This is going to be something new.
That's interesting. I'm trying to think about it because I was wondering how I haven't looked into the conferences and how they're really going to break it up. I guess they're just putting the best 2 in there. It'll probably just be strength of schedule or like best wins, probably something like that. Because without the 2 teams matching up, you don't know. But obviously, if you have a Iowa who can't score and you have an Oregon, you know who they're putting in the game. It's not really much of a question. They're both sitting at 11-1. I think it'll be like strength of schedule, probably like opponents, things like that. To probably have that tiebreaker. But that's an interesting point. I didn't think about that. I'm so used to East and West, and I'm like, there's Oregon over there, and we'll be good.
Because I was looking at it and I was like, okay, Ohio State could possibly go 12-0. Oregon can be 11-1. They face us, and they would get a loss to us. Penn State could be 11-1. They faced us, and they don't play each other. So I'm like, damn, who do you go with, Oregon or Penn State? And we've known the Big Ten to do some political shit. Like we know them like, hey, this Ohio State's the hot team. We're going with them. So then they go. So if Oregon's that hot team, bro, like Penn State.
Yeah, I don't, bro. Ratings, if you shit like ratings and all that stuff, just weighs so much into these games of like who people want to see versus the better game. I mean, we just saw Florida State really get hosed, not losing a game. So it really just depends on public perception, who they want to see, what the ratings will do, and that's kind of how it's determined. So I think that probably be the best time to have a brand because USC and Ohio State, even though I don't expect USC to be in the game, but it's a lot sexier than Ohio State and maybe even Penn State at this point, or Ohio State and or Michigan and somebody else down the line, even if they have a good season. So I just think it depends on how much they can sell it, the sexiness of the game, and things like that. And that's probably who will get that bid to get in there.
But here's the thing. If you're 11-1, 2-11-1 team, do you want to be that team that gets in? Because now you're talking, I go in this, I end up 10-2. That's going to mess up my seeding possibly, as well. Yeah, honestly, I brought up all these different scenarios, bro, because this is something that people need to be talking about, and I'm telling you, y'all are going to remember that Michael was talking about this on February 4th, and y'all are going to be like, "Damn, Michael was talking about this shit. This shit is real. It's looking like it's going to be real." Because if you don't make it, you already got your bye week. That's your bye week. You already got your bye week.
I feel like as long as you don't get blown out or like prove you really shouldn't have been there, you'll probably be all right as far as like college football playoff seeding goes. I mean, it's not going to help like, it would maybe not having that loss, but I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt either. I think it's kind of a neutral spot of like, okay, you lost by 14 or whatever. Like we figured you were the 8th best team or the 9th best team anyway. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what this is going to look like, especially too, because now we finally get that non-Power 5 team that's guaranteed to get in there. So that kind of sucks up a spot to move kind of the second tier, the third tier teams in these bigger conferences down. I'm interested to see how many teams they're willing to put from the Big Ten and the SEC, because I think that weighs in. And that SEC bias, man. You might be the second best team in the Big Ten, and you're going to be behind the SEC champ, the Big Ten champ, and 2 other SEC teams, like 12 seed.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it, and I'm trying to think like, in the Big 12, will there really be a team, a second? Like, will they really get a second team in?
No, man. I think the favorite was like Arizona.
Like, I'm just saying, like, their conference champion is going to get in, but after that, they're probably going to have like 3 losses. The second person's probably going to have like 3 losses.
Does the winner of the Pac-2 get in there? Where
nah, man, they ain't even part of this, man. They're not even part of this, man. But then you got the ACC. I saw some favorable schedules out there, but there's one team down there at the bottom of Florida that's known to mess some things up. So, so I don't know how this. I'm very interested in this 12 team.
Oregon State automatic bid.
But yeah, that's all my hypotheticals that I got for today.
Good. If y'all got any questions, go ahead, throw them down. I see y'all having a good conversation in there. Did we get to Mike's super chat? I think he's doing that.
No, I don't think so.
Let's put that in there. Appreciate our guy. Tap it in.
All right. Appreciate Mike Green for the 2, man. Bruh, Fox is the reason it's not a night game. Oh,
yeah.
Honestly,
3:30.
Huh?
I said, or at least the 3:30, because we haven't seen the 3:30 in a minute.
Oh, no, Fox is not the reason why Ohio State team up north is in the night game.
Well, their big selling is that big noon kickoff, obviously.
Man, y'all forgot the meeting that Gene Smith and the AD of that team up north had. They talked about it, and then Gene Smith had a press conference and said, we came to the conclusion that that's the incorrect move, because that many people drinking for that long coming to that stadium. No, it's bad, bro.
3:30 isn't even a night game.
No. The Fox is the reason. Yeah, Fox is the reason why it's not at 3:30. Yes, I will say that.
Yeah, no, I don't know that,
because we've done it 3:30 before.
It'd be freezing in Columbus, especially at night in November. Yeah. I don't know if they want to be playing in maybe that weather, but I think that 3:30 was kind of that perfect mark. And I just remember that 1 versus 2, 2006, Ohio State Michigan game where it was daylight the first half, got to night in the second half, and that was just like such a classic game. And it's like, damn, we can't replicate, especially with the matchups we had, where it's pretty much whoever was winning is pretty much getting the 2 seed in the college football playoff, or even the 1 seed this past season. So I don't know why we can't do that, but it'd be nice to bring that back, especially when everybody's going to the playoffs now.
Yeah, I'm over here scrolling, looking for these questions.
Yeah, if you got any questions, put in there. But yeah, man, I know Ron's been on a little hiatus. We giving him a break because we worked him overtime during the season. So definitely he'll be back soon. We'll probably get a couple. I know we talked about it. We'll probably get a couple week streams in, especially when stuff happens. But I'm gonna try to do twice a week. My internet is finally back to decent, so I'm not on my phone like I have been. Thank God. But yeah, man, we'll definitely try to get a couple in there and get Ron back. But let him enjoy his vacay, man. He been grinding for us, so
Yeah,
let him enjoy his time off.
he'll be back next week.
But yeah, let's see. Y'all see how much Bama has changed since Saban retired? Man, it must be a rough day right now to be an Alabama fan. Like you've been riding high for damn near almost 20 years, and you just saw your program crumble overnight and had the talent walk out the door. I mean, I think Bama will be all right. I think DeBoer is a good coach. Obviously, if he keeps Grubb, I think the offense will be jumping. I don't know about the defense. He hired a guy from South Alabama, East Alabama, something like that. I don't know anything about him, but I think Bama will be all right. But yeah, it's you just knocked down to the pedestal of maybe are they at LSU now, where you see them every few years put a team together and try to make a run for it. But just that level of dominance has completely changed. So yeah, they've changed a lot, man.
Yeah, big facts, man. Here's my thing on the whole Bama thing, bro. Like, it's not gonna be just Bama, bro, just because Saban retired. And that's what I think everybody needs to understand, bro. If this everybody who's been saying, hey, I want Ryan Day out the door, if you think it's not gonna happen to Ohio State, bro, I think you're crazy, man. And I my thing is this is who do you think on our current staff would be the head coach? I don't think anybody's ready to do that.
No.
So it would be an outside hire, which the good thing about Ryan Day and retaining our roster and stuff like that was it wasn't really the transfer portal. For one, for two, it was a in-staff hire. So just hold on to your seats, man, because Ohio State, it took an interim year for us to have our 3 losses or whatever, bro. Like we haven't had 3 losses in forever, bro. So just hold on, guys, because this honestly it could be anybody the way college football is set up right now.
Yeah, especially the way they just open up the portal. This is coach change. Everybody else has time to just go in and see, like, let me go down Ohio State roster. I want that guy. Like, it is not a good time. And I would say the way we recruiting, we need to keep our talent. Like I said, that star power is now becoming harder and harder to come by.
Big facts.
Well, it's at Tim Walt now. He's cooking right now, but yeah, those guys will be out the door in a jiffy.
Yeah. Shout out Ty, man. Who is Alabama's biggest recruiting competition the last 15 years for players, OSU or Georgia? I would say both of us. We've had a lot of head-to-head battles with Alabama, but also they've had a lot head-to-head battles with Georgia. I mean, I remember one point we were talking about, damn, all the top players in Georgia aren't going to Georgia. They're either going to Bama or what was it, like Florida State? So they all out here competing, man.
Yeah, the last 15 years is interesting. I mean, obviously Georgia is the dominant recruiting power now. Pretty much even while Nick Saban was there, and probably the last was Kirby's been there since 16, 17. And it's like seven years that he's been there. Obviously, they've been well competition. The last 15 years, I mean, that's such a long stretch. I mean, I feel like Ohio State was probably in there. I mean, the under the table money schools were definitely challenging for Alabama. But over 15 years, I would say probably Ohio State, just because we've been at the top level for longer since Urban Meyer walked in the door and we really started recruiting nationally like that. So I would say Ohio State, but Georgia most definitely in the recent history is definitely the challenger, and now at the top spot to where they might get everybody. So Ohio State, Florida State, Texas, they need to keep up that competition so they don't just go to another level. Yeah. They do. It's an NFL team.
Yeah, Florida was competing with them for a minute. before they had their downfall. Now, this is an interesting one. Shout out to Travis, man, because this one's interesting. What's Notre Dame got to do to get in the 12 team? 10-2, and to be honest, man, with that, I don't know if y'all have looked at their schedule, but with their schedule, they shouldn't get in unless they undefeated. Maybe if I'm being generous, 11-1, but 10-2, no conference. You don't play in the conference. You got to pick your little soft schedule. Their schedule is softer than snow. Bro, their schedule is terrible, bro. They cannot get in with 10-2, bro.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame is kind of hitting their back to the wall point with a lot of teams jumping conferences and things like that. People leaving conferences to get to a better conference, like Florida State has been rumored to. I think they're in the point where I think Notre Dame in the next 5 years will probably take a serious look at jumping into the conference. I mean, if the ACC holds itself together and is still around, I could see them possibly going there if they had the choice. I don't think the ACC is going to last much longer, especially if Florida State is going to take one, bro. If Florida State is out, Miami going to be out, Clemson's going to go to the SEC and is going to explode. So I'm just waiting for the tipping point to them. But I think Notre Dame in the next 5 years, as this new playoff system really kind of takes shape, will join a conference. Hopefully it'll be the Big Ten so we can even add more money for Ross B. York to to decorate Columbus and get these football facilities right. But I don't think you could with 10-2, man. It's like they I won't say they would be out. I mean, maybe with a loss to a good USC team, and maybe I don't know who else is on their schedule year in, year out, but maybe with 2 good losses, possibly. But in a year like where their schedule is right now, and the way they push SEC teams, the way the Fox is going to try to push the Big Ten teams to get into this playoff, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. Right. So it's going to be tough. I don't know if they would get in every year with a 10-2. I think a couple years they might, they might not.
All right. So like looking at previous last year's, right? So we know one team right here, Oklahoma, sitting there at 12, they would have been out because that's a group of 5 school that would end up taking that spot, right? Which I think last year would have been Liberty. So now you're sitting at 9-2. Penn State finished, 3rd in the Big Ten. Mizzou finished 3rd in the SEC. Oregon finished 2nd. They got 2 losses. Ole Miss finished 4th. So maybe Notre Dame gets in at 11 or in between those spots.
Yeah,
and what I'm thinking.
With the added teams in the Big Ten, like a Washington, USC, Oregon, I mean that the 10-2 looks a lot better now than it would last year when it's like, oh, you just lost to Michigan and Ohio State. Like now, even if you don't play those teams, people look at the conference, be like, oh, they went 10-2 in the Big Ten. Like what I'm saying, like with all those teams in there, like so. Yeah, it's gonna be rough going. I think in the next 5 years they're in a conference. I they'll finally break down.
It need to be now. All right, shout out Mike Green for the 5, man. I used to shadow box my boy Ron when he was capping for Kyle, but he's my guy now. Shout out to the 2-pack ass creator.
Yeah, I used to back box around every morning on the show. Like, I'm not doing it. I ain't giving Kyle no credit. Beat a good team. Man, that's too funny.
Well, that's all I got for everybody. Is there some more questions we got? I didn't see it. Oh, Mike Green said, "Is Ohio State the new Alabama?"
No,
man, no. We gonna
Georgia's Alabama.
Yeah, right now Georgia got that, man.
Oh man, nah, man. But yeah, that's all happened, man. Nah, it was good. We got 50 people live in here. Make sure you hit that like. It was good to be. It was good to be back. We will try to get the whole gang back. Hopefully, actually, I don't know if I can promise next Sunday because next week is going to be a weekend. But one of these weekends
I'll be here next weekend, maybe.
Yeah, this weekend's coming up. We got to get everybody back. But man, it's good to see the familiar faces. like I said, I will try to get Ron in here during the week. We'll try to at least get one show, if not two, next week. Start working on guests. The off-season content is going to change up. We did want a little winter break, but nah, man, it's good to be back. Keep the ball rolling. Make sure you throw us on the timeline, retweet. I know Mike put out his tweet early. Retweet that, get some new people to tap in, man. We're trying to grow the channel. Looking for 6K up next, and it's been a good ride. And now we're into the off season, so spring ball's coming. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, man. Tell everybody about this, man. Make sure that they subscribe. Make sure that they like the content, all of that stuff, man. We are outside. So if y'all got friends, make sure that they joining up. And with that, Q, where can the people find you at, Q?
I'm not hard to find, bro. I'm City Boy Quitting on Twitter or X, whichever one, maybe triple X, all of those. Flight Johnson on Instagram. Me and Chris did a Chris's Corner this week where we talked some recruiting and kind of the outline. We talked basically O-line recruiting, kind of philosophy that Ohio State may need to change. So make sure you check that out. But yeah, man, I ain't hard to find. I'll be here. Just ring me, and I'll show up.
All righty, man. And you can find me on the X app / Twitter at 216_wildboy. Again, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. And with that, we are out.